and welcome to part 2 of my list of favorite Talespin episodes. And now, the bigger they are, the louder they oink. This is one of the episodes that really focus on Miss Cunningham, and it is hilarious. It's one of those episodes where Miss Cunningham is one of those characters where the angrier she gets, the more hilarious she becomes. And this episode really pushes her to her limits because she's a very stubborn character and she doesn't like to admit when she's wrong. And the more and more things start to go south, the more determined she becomes to not let Blue be right. This is a really fun one, and one of the episodes that focus on Miss Cunningham, this is the one that I like to go back to a lot. And now another episode that really focuses on Miss Cunningham, A Touch of Glass. This is an episode where Miss Cunningham this is an episode this is one of the episodes where this is one of the episodes where Miss Cunningham tries to branch out the business, which leads to this episode really splits the difference between Baloo and Miss Cunningham, since they both get a equal amount of screen time. But for once, Miss Cunningham is the one who has the character arc as opposed to Baloo, where she learns the lesson that you shouldn't always judge people from what you see on the outside. And now the Going Hollywood episode, A Star is Torn, where Baloo gets invited to Hollywood because he saves an actress, but but not surprisingly soon the allure of Hollywood goes to his head and then he becomes completely infatuated with the actress, who isn't as nice as she appears. And at the same time, you have Miss Cunningham, who's trying to get to the bottom of all the accidents that have been appearing on set. And this episode really shows how far Baloo and Miss Cunningham's friendship has came since the pilot. And now, Molly Coddled. This episode is great, and it's the probably the second or third best of the Molly Cunningham focus episodes. It's where a criminal is being chased by two of his former associates, and he ends up ditching his cargo in the sea duct, and Molly ends up finding it, and so to get close to Molly so he can get it back, he ends up starting a relationship with Miss Cunningham. And this episode really showed that Molly had dimensions, and it wasn't just a cute baby character for people to fawn over, and that she actually had character. And it's one I go back to time and time again. And now Vowel Play, which is the episode that is one of the more comedy focused episodes. But the one thing that really, the thing about this episode that I like is that it really feels you in on Blue's past. As well as also showing the importance of a good education. I was surprised that the villain never came back for more episodes. And now, Mommy for a Day. This is one of the other. This is another Molly focused episode, and this one is more of a dramatic, goes for the heartstrings, and really succeeds. That's one thing Talespin was really good at doing, was having really dramatically heavy episodes that really went for the heartstrings, while still also having the comedy and an adventure. And the next episode is Time Waits for No Bear. After Baloo screws up delivery, Rebecca punishes him by making him fly a sightseeing tour. So to try to get out of doing the sightseeing tour and to make it up for Becky for screwing up the delivery, he comes up with a little scheme, and hilarity and hijinks ensue. But probably the most important part of this episode is that this is the episode that introduces Trader Mo, who's that little alligator who's a gangster, and his two thugs, one who's a gorilla and the other one who's a rhinoceros. This is a fun, action-heavy episode. It also has a number of good gags too with Wildcat. And the next episode, From Here to Machinery. This is one of my really, really personal favorite episodes. This is one of those episodes that is very similar to an episode from another show, and that episode would be Armstrong from DuckTales. This episode also has a good commentary on, and probably the thing I like about this episode the most is its technology versus people message, where it doesn't downright point the technology as being evil, but it shows both sides of the conflict. And of course, last but not least, is the pilot movie Plunder and Lightning. Of all the Disney Channel TV movies that were pilots for TV shows, I have to say Plunder and Lightning is probably the best. And the one thing that Plunder and Lightning does better than any of the other pilot movies that became shows is that it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it stands alone. You could watch it without watching a single episode of the show, and it would make sense, and it would be enjoyable. It establishes all the main characters. You get the tone and setting, while getting an engaging action adventure story, but also has heart too. Well, that was my list of my favorite Tailspin episodes. Till next time, see ya.